Hey everybody, this is Britt Lightning of Vixen, and you're listening to the Ken Valdez Approach on Rock Rage Radio.
Welcome to the Ken Valdez Approach.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah. Here we go again, right? Hey, everybody. It's your boy KV coming at you from my Soul Renegade Sound Studios right here in Minneapolis. I'm welcoming you to the Ken Valdez Approach. It is so good to be back, y'all. It is so good to be back. I've missed you guys. I have some incredible guests lined up for y'all, and tonight we are starting this new season off with a bang. My friend Michael Sweet is my guest this evening. Now, Michael is outspoken, and he leads quite possibly the most polarizing band in all of heavy metal and rock and roll. These guys are outstanding. I've looked up to them ever since I was a kid. But I mean, to see this progression is something else. A lot of people remember them back in the day with the big hair and kind of the glam rock thing. But their sound has just developed over the years into something that, I mean, it's almost borderline thrash. Their musicianship is just exceptional. Michael is one of those really rare talents in any genre. The singing and the playing and the production and the songwriting and that whole thing. And, you know, say what you want about these guys. Their career kind of says it all. Their longevity says so much more than anybody else could probably argue with. But I'll tell you what. Let's just go ahead and get on into this. Let Michael tell you a little bit about it. Let's get to know Michael a little bit more. And hey, here we go. Come along for the ride. Let's talk with Michael Sweet of the band Stryper right here on The Approach. Away we go. Hey, I am here with Michael Sweet of Stryper and then some. This guy is one of the busiest guys in rock and roll as far as I'm concerned. I've been a fan for a long, long time. Michael, I don't even know if you know this or not, man, but I grew up listening to you. And it's so funny and little cringeworthy, man. But you know, I was a little kid. What am I supposed to say, right? I was a little kid. And my brother, who's even younger than I was, man. When we were just young lads, man. We would dress up like Stryper. We'd grab like beat up tennis rackets, and we'd be rocking in our own, you know, this big room that we had, just pretending we were you guys, man. And that kind of set the path for me, if you will, because this is what I'm doing these days. Is I'm playing music, and I get to talk to people that I love, man. And you know, without you and without your music, I don't know if I would be here, man. So thank you. And welcome, man. How are you doing?
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. What a story. It's always great and amazing to hear those stories because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I mean, you know, music, to hear a song and watch a band is one thing, but then you leave the show and the show's over and it can never be repeated. But then what is there for eternity is what lives on with that person, where they moved by something, and it sounds like Stryper's inspired you somehow in some way, and that's really awesome.
Big time, man.
Things are good, man. I mean, things are good. You know, we're busy. We're building a new house, my wife and I, so that's a whole other thing in and of itself. Got the new album out yesterday, the 21st.
It's killing, y'all.
We're touring and other projects, Sweet and Lynch, I'm turning that in soon. There's just all kinds of things going on, and it's a little bit of a blur right now. Life is a blur, but in a good way. I'm very, very happy. I'm in a good place, and I'm alive. Here I am.
I love it, man, and creating wonderful music. As I said, well, let's get into this a little bit, man, because you did release this brand new record, and Michael and I were talking just a little bit before about how cool this record is for the Stryper fan, right? So I had told him that I believe this record, The Final Battle, which is out now, really brings together the best of what Stryper really is, from the past to the present. It's just this beautiful mixing of these of everything that they've accomplished and everything that they've done, and presented in such a way where old fans, new fans are going to find something to just sink their teeth into, if you will. Tell me a little bit about this record, man, and how this came about. Because I did read something about this too, man. You have a really interesting way of writing too, where you just kind of wait almost to the last minute, right?
I do.
Gosh, man, that's crazy. Tell us a little bit about the record, and we'll get into that in a little bit here.
Well, I don't recommend that for any writer out there, but that's the way I do things. I work better under pressure. It's just the way I work. You know, I don't work as well when there's no pressure. So I tend to, this album was written, I was down in Florida. We sold our house, bought an RV, drove to Florida, and we were just hanging out in Florida.
Wow.
And that was in October of last year. And then we knew in November we had to come back to start on the new album, Final Battle. No title at the time. And my retina detached while I was down there. I came home for emergency surgery. It had changed everything, the scheduling and whatnot. And once I was able to sit up after 2 weeks, I started writing the album. So I had that to work. I had to get over that hurdle. And I thought, how am I going to do this? I went in there very careful in my studio with my head down, being careful, trying to write an album. And I just started working on songs, and one song came, and then the next one, and just like all the other albums, after 11 days, I had 11 songs.
Wow.
And it just came very fluently, and it flowed right out of me. And that's something that is a big part, maybe my biggest gift is writing. At least I believe so. I think God put something in me. I don't know what it is, but it's not a problem for me to write songs. I love writing songs, and they just come right out. Riff ideas, melody ideas, whatever it is. And I'm very blessed that way. So this album was no different than the past 5 albums. Just written the same way.
Unbelievable. How does it differ, I guess, now that the last 5 records, right, where you are under pressure and you're churning these songs out, and they're amazing tunes. This record is ridiculous, guys. I'm telling you. This might be my favorite Stryper record. I'm not joking. It's that good. It's that good. But how do these last few records differ from, To Hell with the Devil or Soldiers or anything like that? Like, as far as the writing process is concerned.
Well, the thing about these new records, and I think you hear it in the tracks themselves, is the spontaneity of the writing process. These songs were written relatively quickly, and then with that comes, and they were recorded relatively quickly. We tracked the whole album in 3 weeks, other than my vocals, my lead vocals.
Wow.
You go back to Hell with the Devil, and we spent 2 months tracking that album.
Right.
And I spent 3, 4, 5 months writing it. You go to In God We Trust, we spent 6 months recording that album. I spent a year or almost a year writing it. Those are the differences. And I think a lot of people say, oh, you should take more time writing songs. That's not what it's about.
No.
Some of the best songs ever written were written in an hour.
Right.
So it's not about time. It's about, passion and the spontaneity, the energy of the song. And, that's what it's really all about.
That's awesome, man. What I have always admired about you is the fact that you have, your mind is wide open to music. You're a fan. I want to know Michael Sweet, the fan of music, right? So, this record is very, it's heavy, it's cool. There's a lot of groove. There's a lot of melody in there. But you're also into guys like Journey or Boston. You were in Boston,
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me how that all kind of lends to the Stryper sound.
Well, growing up, I grew up listening to every genre. So I listened to metal, but I listened to pop. I'm a huge fan of Ambrosia.
Wow. All right. David Pack.
And one of my favorite albums is Bread.
Yeah, man.
Best stuff. I love Creedence Clearwater Revival. I love Al Green.
There you go.
I love Chuck Berry. I love Elvis Presley. I love Black Sabbath, Dio, Maiden. I love Journey. I love Loverboy, Survivor. I'm not tied to one genre. Like this whole thing, metal till you die, and it's only metal. Stupid. I just appreciate a good song.
Yes.
You know, if it's metal, I'm gonna love it and be there with my horns up with everybody else. But if it's a ballad, John Legend, you know, All of Me, what a great song. You know, I just appreciate a good song, man. That's what it's all about, and I think that translates over into my style of writing. That's why you hear a song like Near, then you hear a song like Transgressor.
Right.
I'm a big Journey fan. I'm a big Priest fan. So you kind of get the full spectrum, and that's the way it'll always be with me. I've got multiple sides as a writer.
I love it, man, and I think that that's one of the things for me personally that I feel sets Stryper apart from, you know, a lot of other bands. What do you think is what do you believe sets Stryper apart from everybody else?
I think there's so many things. Obviously, first and foremost, the fact that we stand for Christ in our message, you know, and no other metal band that's crossed over like Stryper does that.
Right.
That I'm aware of. And then you add to that the yellow and black. We have our own unique look and style.
Right.
And brand, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
And then you add to that our music, our sound. You know, we've got really unique sound. We don't sound like any other band. Love it or hate it. A lot of people love us. A lot of people hate us for that reason.
Right.
Because we're very unique sounding. Like we're a metal band, but then sometimes my voice doesn't sound as metal as people would like it to sound. You know, I don't have the grit like some of the other guys, but I don't want that.
Right.
I've got my own style, and I think it makes us very unique and different. The songwriting, as you said, the fact that we do twin guitars in our own way, unlike any band in history. You know, the difference with Stryper is a lot of bands, metal bands that have two guitar players, they go back and forth and they do an occasional harmony or something. We've done full solos in harmony.
Right.
There's a lot more to the harmonies and the dual guitars in Stryper than most bands. And then you got the harmony vocals. We grew up on the Beach Boys and Queen, and we've added that to metal. And
right.
I don't really know of another band that's done that. That's metal.
No, man.
Maybe there is, and let me know about them. I'd love to check them out. But we just have our own unique thing and our own signature sound, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So let's go back a little bit. So like growing up, did you have anybody who mentored you or somebody who inspired or influenced you or showed you the ropes of this business at all? Well,
yeah, my parents. My parents are singer-songwriters. They were managed by Mike Curb.
Wow.
Performing when we were kids and writing when we were kids. My dad had a #1 country song, 1978, I Don't Want to Have to Marry You, co-written by Fred Imus, Don Imus's brother. Yeah, I grew up in a musical family, so my parents showed me the ropes. My dad is certainly a mentor of mine, and I put him at the top of the list of someone that's inspired me musically. And then you go down the list of starting with Elvis Presley, I'm a big fan of, and then working my way into, I mentioned Creedence Clearwater Revival, John Fogerty, big fan of, and then Chuck Berry. I used to air guitar to Chuck Berry. He was probably
nice.
my first big influence guitar-wise. And then I moved into, as I got older, guys like Tom Scholz, Boston, Randy Rhoads, Edward Van Halen. Those are big influences of mine. I don't play anything like them at their level, but you can probably hear some of those influences in my style.
Absolutely.
As a guitar player. And then Steve Perry and Rob Halford are probably my two biggest vocal influences.
Oh man, that's crazy. What do you believe are the biggest misconceptions about you and about Stryper?
That we're pussies.
And that is so is so not true. You guys,
a lot of people just say, "Oh yeah, they're pussies." They sing about God. Yeah, they're pussies. They suck. Or that's the other one. No, they suck. And it's like, really? Okay.
No.
anyone that thinks Stryper sucks is, they need to get evaluated. They really, big. I know everyone has different opinions of music, and we might not be your taste, and you may not like our style of music or our sound. But to say that we suck, and that's just that stems from what we sing about and who we sing about.
Right.
You sing about God, you're going to have people say that you suck.
Right.
And there's going to be, the hate level is going to be raised to a higher point, for sure.
What do you believe is the biggest challenge for Stryper these days?
Oh man, biggest challenge is just to, be respected. I don't know that day will ever come. It's not that we're fighting for respect, but you as a musician, you always want to prove a point. It's just kind of in you with this song and with the performance or what have you. And sometimes it's impossible for us to prove our point, and we've learned to accept that. But I think just being a Christian in a metal band in 2022 and trying to get airplay and play to an audience or Anthrax stage or Behemoth takes the stage or whoever, it's kind of tricky sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so now that you say that, right, I just saw the lineup for a festival coming up, and Stryper's on the bill with Pantera, the resurrected Pantera, if you will. Right. I've been a huge Pantera fan for a long, long time. They're fantastic. But I'm also seeing a lot of the other names on the bill, and the one name that sticks out is you guys. And I'm just like, man, this is awesome, but I'd love to hear your take on this. I'm trying to remember the name of the festival. Maybe you can help me out. But man, if you guys have seen this flyer, this poster, this thing all over the internet, you got some bands that are probably, pretty big on the secular side and probably don't share the same message or beliefs. But man, you have Stryper right in the middle of this thing, and I'm like, okay, I'd love to hear your take on this.
Well, those are the opportunities we look forward to. We humbly accept them. We never take anything for granted. And the fact that we can go play on a bill with, Behemoth and Merciful Fate,
right,
and Megadeth and Judas Priest and all these bands, it's unheard of, really. It is not something that you would ever expect to see.
No.
And I think the reason why is because there is favor with the band. I can't explain it. We really are four nobodies. Do I look at us as a great band? No, I don't. I look at us as a good band that tries to be great. But there is favor for whatever reason, and there are a lot of fans out there, and you can't deny that. You can hate us all you want and speak against us all you want, but you can't deny the fact that there are fans worldwide that like the band and want to hear the band and want to see the band. And I hope some of those fans are at those festivals wearing their Stryper shirts and supporting the band. And we can't wait to see all those fans and take part in that. I think the energy is going to be off the chain, Well, with this new record and with the stuff that you've been putting out the last several years, right, there's no doubt in my mind that you deserve to be up there, right? You guys have something that's viable. Again, like people could just sink their teeth into. You guys have every right to be up there. And your sound is something that I believe
fans, or the way that I always put it with my people, man, is you have the old faithful, and then you have the new believers, right? That's the way that I've always kind of viewed my fans. You're so thankful for the old faithful. You want those new believers to come on over and be fans of the band, right? Well, you have this sound. The sound has progressed over the years. It's edgy. It's cool. Not afraid to just, like you said, just rock out and throw up the horns and so yeah, you guys definitely deserve to be up there. And I have to believe that the crowd that you're going to see there and the crowds that you have been playing for, this is something that they can relate to. You bring a lot of hope. Whether you're singing about Christ or whatever, there's something positive about your music, and I think that's something that's missing a lot these days.
And maybe even subconsciously, people don't realize it or recognize it, and maybe that's what they want. And if it is, that's amazing. And just to be the band that can bridge that gap, that can bring that side to a festival like that, is pretty amazing. We're playing another festival called Hell and Heaven Festival.
Oh wow!
In Mexico as well. I'm still trying to find all the heaven bands. The only heaven band I see is us. Everything else more so represents hell, and that's great. That's fine, but we're doing that too. It's another great, really cool. And man, we're just blessed and humbled that people want to see us. People want to hear us. We went to Japan. I'll never forget. 12 years ago, and we played Loud Park. And they had, in a big arena, they had 2 stages set up on each end of the arena. One band played one stage, and when they stopped, the next band played the other stage. And Limp Bizkit was playing. And we were setting up on the stage and putting on our Stryper jackets. And I was up there in the dark, and I heard the crowd erupting. And I turned around. I just put my Stryper, my original To Hell with the Devil jacket on and my guitar on. And I turned around, and I kid you not, it was maybe 15,000 people. Half of the crowd was facing me, our stage, wow. and applause. And it was chills. It like the hairs on my arms stood on end, and I got chills because it blew my mind. And that just showed me like, there are people that want to see Stryper.
Absolutely.
There are people that care about Stryper. And even though some people will tell you that's not true, how could anyone want to see Stryper? They suck. You know what I mean? It's like...
Oh, man. No, I hear you. So, I mean, really, it sounds like the big challenge, if there is, if you want to call it a challenge, is just changing people's minds and attitudes, and then working from there. Am I on the right path here?
Yeah, the only thing we do to change people's minds is we just keep doing what we do. We keep making records. What will silence people is loudness, and Stryper's very loud. We don't stop. Some people probably want us to stop, but we don't stop. We will not stop. Why should we stop? There's multiple sides of the argument. We present one side, and why would we ever not be allowed to do that?
Right. Well, here's something for you. So Mariah from Mika came on the show pretty recently, and you have a connection with her. And the coolest thing is seeing, even a younger generation than myself following what you're doing and digging what you're doing. And then she's just blazing a trail all on her own right now. Her band Plush is killing it. Yeah. Right. And what an amazing singer. Goodness gracious.
She's like my little niece. I'm her uncle. She calls me Uncle Mike, or at least I hope she still does. But yeah, man, I performed in New York quite a few years back, and she opened for me acoustically, and I was blown away. And one of the first times, or not first times, one of the few times, I should say, that I stepped out of the dressing room, and watched. And I was like, wow, usually I'm getting ready back there and tied up and doing my ritualistic stuff pre-show. And I heard her and I was like, wow. And we hit it off and exchanged numbers, my wife and I and her parents and her. And I wound up working with her, writing a song with her and for her and producing it. And she's performed with Stryper a few times, come out and sang Tell with the Devil. And
nice.
It really got behind her because we saw the talent, knew how special she was. And then here she is doing amazing things, proving to the world how special she is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, the band Plush is great, but I mean, as good as they are, Mariah's just, her voice is...
That voice, yes.
Got to have the voice. If you don't have the voice, you're kind of spinning your wheels. They've got the voice in Mariah, so it's really cool to see. And I'm still Uncle Mike. I'm rooting her from the sidelines, rooting for her from the sidelines. And, it's just amazing to be a part of her amazing career so far. And I think there's going to be a lot more to come.
Oh, man, I do. I absolutely agree with you. With that said, what advice would you give to the younger generation who want to make music their career?
My advice would be to work as hard as you can. When everyone else is sleeping, you better be working. And that's the only way you're going to stay ahead of the game and on top of everything. Don't turn down opportunities. Also, be yourself. Be original. Even if you got the label and everyone telling you to be something you're not, say no. You got to be yourself. You got to be true to yourself. Also, don't sell yourself out. Don't give away everything. All these 360 deals with clubs and labels now.
Gosh, right.
Stick a finger up in that stuff. Don't do it. Walk away. Be willing to walk away and say no to them. And you'll find something else better than that. They're trying to get a piece of, or take everybody's publishing and a piece of everybody's merch and a piece of the guarantees and all this nonsense. And I just think it's ludicrous and crazy. So fight for your rights.
Fight for your rights. I absolutely agree with you. How does this industry today compare to what you guys had gone through, coming up? I mean, obviously the 360 deals and the fact that record companies are just kind of, they are what they are.
Yeah, they want to take all and they expect you to do. So they want you to do all the promoting and all the marketing, but yet they want to take all your money. It's never really changed. Labels have been that way from day one. Not just labels, but a lot of management companies too. It's pretty disgusting, actually, when you break it down. But that's the way the system works. But if you don't fight against the system and change the system, then there you go.
Awesome, man. So I want to go ahead and play a song off of the new record. What song would you like us to play? What song is this one's on you? This one's on you. What do you want us to play on this show here?
All right, I'm going to tell you one of my favorites. May not be everyone else's, but I love the groove and the feel, and it's a little different for us. And that's a song called "The Way, the Truth, the Life."
You got it. Tell us a little bit about that song.
Man, I just love it. There's something about that groove and the riffs that really sticks with me, and I turn it up to 11 when I'm in the car.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, man, and it's just got that stomping groove and just makes me want to tap my foot, and I dig it. So I hope everyone else does as well.
Yeah, man. This is "The Way, the Truth, and the Life" by Stryper.
Save me a prayer.
So here we are talking with Michael Sweet. We just listened to The Way, the Truth, the Life. And I will tell you right now, being in Minneapolis, if you don't have that funky stuff, man, something's wrong with you. There's something in the water over here. The first time I heard that song, which was yesterday, I about jumped out of my chair. I was like, dude, yes, here we go. This is something a little bit different, but I was seriously, for those of you that are watching, man, I'm bobbing my head and I'm just like, yeah, this is my stuff right here. This is a little bit different for Stryper. So yeah, man, that's great.
It's got a little bit more of a good funk. And
it sounds just like that.
Yeah, it's got that groove, and it mimics the riff. It's different for us. It's a little different. If I had to pick another song, another one that I love too, that's a little more pop metal, is the song "Till Death Do Us Part."
That's a great one too. Yeah, man.
I'm really digging that one too. So.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll play that one at the end of the show. What is your? Tell us about that tune too.
Well, like I said, it's a little more pop metal, a little more melodic. The message is all about love and marriage, and being one, staying one till death do you part.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's the importance of marriage. I think people take lightly. These days we see divorce more so than it ever before, and I think people they don't work as hard as they should on relationships. Being married is tough.
Yeah, man.
It takes work, but you got to work for it.
So tell me this, because this kind of leads into my next question, man. And I know that I don't want to keep you by any means. You're a busy guy, but I'm curious about this. You've been doing this for a while, and you're just talking about the marriage side of things, and you guys tour. How is that for you to have that relationship? Nurture that relationship while you're on the road. Is that something easy for you? Is that something that's difficult? Is there an understanding? How does that work out for you?
Well, it's easier for more difficult.
You're breaking up just a little bit, my guy.
Okay,
there we go.
Okay, I was saying it's easier and yet more difficult sometimes for me because my wife travels with us. So she's the co-manager of the band. So, I'm with my wife so I can see her daily and hug her and kiss her. And then also we have to talk business all the time and deal with business. And sometimes that can be like, butting heads a couple times and like, frustrating. So yeah, I get both sides of the coin in that regard. But, it's great, man. We travel. We don't travel a lot. We go out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time instead of 2 or 3 months at a time.
Right.
So it works really well for us.
Oh, that's good, man. That's awesome. So, with that said, what's a day in the life of Michael Sweet at home?
Oh, man. Waking up out of bed, posting on social media, getting my first cup of coffee, cleaning out the cat box, taking a shower, and then going all day long till we get out of the house by about usually 10:30 a.m. and we don't get home till about midnight.
Wow.
I have a studio and we have an office in Plymouth, downtown Plymouth, and we're there all day long every day.
Oh, man. So with that said, what's a day in the life of Michael Sweet on the road?
On the road, oh, man, same kind of thing pretty much, except the cleaning of the cat box.
Right, a lot of coffee.
Coffee, wake up, warm up my voice, do interviews, go in. I'm the guy that goes in and preps the stage for sound check and OCDs out over all the placement, everything. And I do that. And then I take a break. Then we sound check. Then I take a break. Then we meet and greet, take a break. Then we play. And then I go to sleep. It's just a blur, man. But, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm thankful that we have it and that we can still do it. And I wouldn't change a thing.
That's awesome, man. And you're also a gearhead like myself, which I love. You like tinkering a lot, and I love that, man. Anything, this is just me. For me and the gearheads out there, anything cool that you're working on or that you're playing with these days or things that you're digging?
Live, I'm doing my signature box, which is ISP. and it's called the Theta, Theta, and it's in Michael Sweet's signature. And I get the Stryper tone right out of that. Everything's in there. I come out of that and feed the front of house direct. And there are no mics on my cabinets. I have 3 live cabs behind me, but they're not mics. So the sound you hear live is just direct, and it sounds killer.
Yeah, it does.
In the studio, I'm using on this album, I used an EVH 50 watt EL34 head.
Wow, right on.
And I went into the front end of that with the Tech 21 Q strip.
Really?
Single band parametric EQ.
Yeah.
And that's like, we used to use the Furman PQ3. I'm using the Tech 21 these days. And then in the effects loop, I had an ISP decimator, and I had a Dunlop EQ. And I ran direct out. I came out of that speaker out into a Captor, 2 notes Captor X.
Wow.
And we went direct. All those guitar tones are direct.
Wow. Because, yeah, the tones are killing. And I've been telling you guys, this record, it's slamming. I mean, you hear it a lot. Like, it said, oh, this is a great record. This is great. This is a great record, front to back. There's all killer, no filler on this thing, man. We're getting close to the end here, man, but I want to ask just a couple more questions if you don't mind. What are you listening to these days? Who are you listening to?
Man, I don't listen to a lot of music. I'm going to be honest. Because I play it, I think I need a break from it. But when I do listen to music, it's usually not metal. You know, on the bus, let me rephrase that. It is metal, late at night on the bus. We always listen to stuff like Priest. British Steel is a go-to for us. Van Halen. Now, when I'm home, though, I listen to stuff like John Legend and, I'm just listening. I just heard yesterday he was on, I think, American Idol, Win Starks.
Okay.
Blew my mind.
Wow.
Blew my mind. What a voice. Holy moly. One of the best voices I've ever heard.
Really? That's a huge statement.
Oh, man. No, you got to go check him out. Ridiculous. Insane. But anyway, yeah, I don't listen to a lot of music, though, man.
Right on.
I just don't. I think that's what keeps me. I try not to, so I can stay fresh in my own right as a writer.
And that's, I think that's smart, actually, right? And that also gives you the originality, because you're not really as influenced or whatever, and that's understandable.
Yeah, that's just me. But I like, kind of, when I'm in the car, not listening to anything, not even talk radio. I just like drive, and I like the peace and quiet. It's kind of nice. Man,
so you are quite busy on social media, which is awesome. You know, you are quite possibly the most outspoken guy on social media in a good way. And I'm like, man, that's Michael. And that's great. You know, that's him just speaking from the heart, man. That, I don't know, how do you feel that social media is playing a part in Stryper and just in music in general?
Well, I mean, I've come to the terms, I'm a more of a private guy. So when I was growing up, I was always super private, and you know, social media to me is a very strange concept, because that's not private.
Right.
You're laying yourself out there whenever you post something, unless your management's doing it, which a lot of artists are. It's not even them posting. But what you get with me, what you see is what you get. It's all me posting on my socials, and I am very outspoken, but I try to do so with respect.
Yes.
But with honesty. And I think it's important to be honest. You know, I'm not a fan of people that are swearing you out 5 minutes earlier and then posting the scripture 5 minutes later.
Right.
It drives me up a tree.
No, I bet. I bet.
Stand it. It's complete hypocrisy, and what you see is what you get with me. Like, you know, if I'm not being a nice guy, you're not going to see me quoting scriptures. until I feel like I'm worthy of that. You'll see me posting me with the bourbon or a cigar sometimes, and it's just I'm not doing it to get a rise out of people. It's just I'm presenting the truth. I'm presenting me.
Right, and I mean, for everybody out there. I mean, you're a man.
Well, I want you to know who Michael Sweet is in real life versus just this facade of you think it's Michael Sweet, and then you meet me in person, and I'm nothing like that guy on Instagram.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, man, the honesty, love it or hate it, it's still a breath of fresh air, man. So, keep on.
I try to be honest and be respectful, though. And someone asks me, hey, do you like this album and this artist? And if I really don't like it, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. Just be nice and say, oh, yeah, I do like it. It's
right.
Bull crap.
No.
But I'll be respectful about it,
Right. Well, here, this is what I do at the end of the shows, man, is I go rapid fire here, right? Oh. So you don't think, you just go. You just go with it. And whatever comes out, that's what comes out. So what band do you wish that you could play, either with or go on tour with?
I would have said Van Halen before Edward passed.
Yeah.
But now I would say, oh my gosh, that's always a tough question. Good night. I'm going to say, I'm going to go with, oh man, that's hard. Holy, I got to come up with something. I can't leave you hanging.
I believe in you, Michael. I believe in you, man.
I would say Boston again.
Wow, right on.
If Boston ever tours again and they need me, I would love to tour with them again. But I can't see that happening. But you never know.
Sure. Top 3 guitarists, in your opinion?
Oh gosh, easily. I'm gonna go with Edward Van Halen. I'm gonna go with Randy Rhoads. Those were 2 of my biggest influences. And then I'm gonna throw something out there and say Prince.
I dig it. I love that. And that's just me. You know me and my connections and whatnot. We were just talking about Princess Old Tech Takumi, who's a buddy of ours. So, yeah, and being here in Minneapolis, that's the sacred ground, man.
Prince, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on with you, but I always thought he was very underrated as a guitar player. Whenever he did a solo with anybody, it was like mind-blowing. And he stole it. So I would say
top 3 singers.
Easy. Paul Rodgers, Bad Company, Steve Perry, Journey, and Rob Halford, Priest.
Dig it. Wow. All right, now here's the one. This is the one that always gets everybody. What one song, do you wish you wrote?
One song I wish I wrote, I would say ABBA, Dancing Queen.
Really? Or is that... Wow. Really?
And the reason why, there's something about that song when I was a kid growing up, and even to this day, that just does something to me. I always say, oh my God, turn it up. And when I was stuffing my own packages, CDs, selling my own Truth album back around 1999, I would put that song in rotation and play it for hours on end.
Really?
Yeah. And
along with Truth, or you're just packaging Truth?
As I was packaging envelopes, I would listen to Dancing Queen over and over. And it's a huge song. It's
massive.
I'm sure it would pay the bills as well.
Right. Man, well, that kind of made my head spin just a little bit, dude. Yeah, so I feel you. Brother, it is so good to see you It is so good to see you. It is so good to hear the new record. It's amazing. Go pick it up now. Go get it on whatever platform you guys are listening to your music on, whatever it is. The Final Battle by Stryper. I have to believe this. I've been a fan for a long time, y'all, and this might be my favorite Stryper record yet. And that's the God honest truth. It is so good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's that good. Start to finish, there's not a bad song on it, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang with me today, man.
Hey, Ken, you God bless you, man. Thanks for spending time with me, and I can't wait to see you in person at a show, brother.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to hanging, bro.
All right, man. You have a good one, and stay warm in Minneapolis. Okay?
Oh, my goodness, man. Well, I told Michael that I'd be playing Till Death Do Us Part, and indeed we did. That song is off of The Final Battle, the brand new record by Stryper. Man, it's such a great record. I don't know how those guys keep doing it. They just keep outdoing themselves every new record. They're outstanding. Say what you want about Michael. Say what you want about that band, about what they sing about, that whole thing. These guys are outstanding musicians who bring something really, really refreshing to the heavy metal and rock and roll landscape. I think the world of them, and man, I am a tried and true Stryper fan. That is the truth. And I'll tell you, as a Stryper fan, I do believe this to be, if it's not their best record, it is right up there. So go check it out. Go download it. Go stream it. Go pick up a physical copy, and absolutely, positively, go see Stryper live. They're outstanding, and Michael is one of the great frontmen in rock and roll and heavy metal. So there you go. I want to thank Michael for hanging out with me and spending some time. It was really good to see him again, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him again down the road. Hey, if you like this show, I'm asking you, go check out our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/Ken Valdez Approach. You know what I'm going to be doing over there? I'm going to be putting up these interviews with the actual video, so you can see Michael and see myself and see how we're having this conversation. And there might be some stuff that may have been edited out of this radio show, and you could catch it only on Patreon. So go over there, check it out. There's no tears. All I'm asking you to do is just show a little bit of love, because this show does take time, money, and all that kind of good stuff just to kind of keep the wheels on this bus moving. So one more time, www.patreon.com/Ken Valdez Approach. Y'all, it has been so good to be back here. We got some great guests coming up, so keep on joining us. And until the next time, right? Be good to each other. Take care of one another. Bye-bye.